in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, ZIMSEC put in place a business continuity strategy to ensure that the production and the processing of examinations would go ahead. If I could just give a scale of the operations of ZIMSEC so that members appreciate the impact of the COVID-19 on our operations. This scale of operations is meant to give you numbers which we are dealing with from an examination center point of view, our candidates, and our markers. When we look at the June session, which was supposed to start on the 26th of May, ZIMSEC will be dealing with 821 centers for ordinary level candidates, and centers. And from those centers, 821, we have registered 60,900 candidates. And at advanced level, we have got 175 centers, from which we have registered 5,769 candidates.
So again, can I get the number around the centers?
The centers, all level, 821, from where we are getting 60,910 candidates we have registered. At advanced level, we are having 175 centers, from which 5,769 candidates have registered. There isn't a big difference between the candidates of 2019 chair to those of 2020 at A level. But at O level, the numbers went down by about 15,000 from 75,000. Chair, the reasons for this going down could be two, could be more than two, but we can single out maybe the raise in fees, which was from $15 to $100 for school candidates and $190 per subject for private candidates. There could be many more reasons. Also, COVID played its part in the sense that we started to scale down operations in Zimbabwe on the 30th of March, when the nation was locked down. And candidates, parents, heads had problems in the registration of candidates. We, however, put in place measures to ensure that the registration went on, hence the 60,000 and the 5,000 we are talking about at A level. Last year, A level candidates were 5,900 for June session. And this year, 5,700. So there isn't a big dent in as far as the numbers are concerned at advanced level. Chair, we got into a situation where we try to assist candidates, parents, and students because of COVID restrictions to continue to register for the June examination. And we did this by creating platforms, electronic platforms, which we published and which we talked about on radios. This is why we are having that number which registered. But of course, there are others who did not have these electronic platforms. And we have said to those who intended to write the June examinations, can you now register for the November examinations? And our approach to it was to say, whenever the lockdown has been eased, we will open a window. We have closed the registration for November and for June, but for November we're going to open a window now so that those who were disadvantaged by COVID, we are able to accommodate them. Chair, as we go to November, the centers are more. We have grade 7 centers, 5,290 grade 7 centers, from which we expect 347,000 candidates across the nation. And at not ordinary level, we're expecting 2,224 centers. When I say centers, I mean schools, colleges, all those which have been given the mandate to offer education by the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education. From these 2,224, Chair, we're expecting 315,000 candidates at ordinary level in November. Advanced level, we are expecting 852 centers to give us candidates, about 53,000. So this is the scale, Chair, from the point of view of numbers, in as far as candidates are concerned. The scale from the point of view of permanent and contracted staff expected to run the examination are as follows. Here I'm just picking on the transportation of question papers and scripts. I am also picking on the number of security personnel, ZRP, which will be at our cluster centers, and also our administrators, our monitors will monitor the security of the question papers. And of course, the markers. We'll have about 1,300 markers at marking venues, and a total of 2,532 people will be involved, actively involved in the examination. I have not here quoted the 300 permanent staff at ZIMSEC. Some of these were across the nation. Chair, the next aspect I want to talk about is the timetable, which you indicated in your opening remarks. The 2020 examination timetables are guided by the national response to the threat of the spread of COVID-19. You will recall that the ZIMSEC board made a statement after its meeting on the 24th of April, where they indicated that the examination had been moved by 4 weeks. And this was in response to ensuring that the candidates write the examination in a secure and a safe environment. That postponement is waiting now for a date at which the ministries of primary and secondary education and the Ministry of Health would say examination candidates will start their education. We can then fix a date there. So this is work in progress now, after the announcement by His Excellency on Saturday that exam classes will start. The November timetables will also be informed by what has happened in as far as the opening of the classes is going to be concerned as we move on. The printing of papers, Chair, question papers for June and O and A level examinations are ready for deployment as I speak. We continued to work since February to ensure that if government said go ahead and offer the examination, we would have been ready. We are ready, Chair. So those have been printed. We are currently working on the September, November question papers for grade 7, O and A level. In printing these papers, Chair, we were compliant with the requirements of statutory 99 of 2020, the statutory instrument, which talks about hand washing facilities, sanitizers, gloves, face masks, temperatures of employees and visitors being taken at entrance. Now that the question papers are ready, we are ready to deliver them to cluster centers, Chair. And as I've indicated earlier, there are going to be 386 centers, clusters, for the June examination. We are going to relax a little bit where we are happy that the question papers will be secure, we are going to have more stand-alone centers where the question papers are going to be kept by our schools and centers. But where we have strong suspicion of abuse of our question papers, we will put that facility where they are picked up every morning of the examination. We are still thinking around it, whether we can make them pick a little bit more than one, but we are wary of the fact that we could lose the security of some of our question papers. So as we deliver them, we will disinfect all examination materials. And these materials are in plastics, and they have been shrink wrapped, and therefore will be able to disinfect. The vehicles which ferry them will be disinfected, and the personnel who use these will be given personal protective wear, which I've indicated earlier on. On the writing of the examination chair, I need to say that members must understand the roles of ZIMSEC and that of the ministry. ZIMSEC's role is to provide the question papers to our major stakeholder, the candidate. And we set, we print, we deliver to cluster centers and to schools, straight to schools. And from there on, the ministry has the authority over the people who handle examinations in schools. Therefore, when we deliver the question papers, we have assisted the heads of schools, of examination centers, with a circular which states on how we want the examinations to be handled. For example, disinfecting all classrooms, surfaces, facilities, and so forth. Reinforcing the hand washing, the sanitizers, and so forth. Wearing of masks. Promoting social distancing of candidates as they write the examination. I'm happy to report, Chair, that the regulation which indicates that candidates have to be a meter apart when writing examination falls also within the requirements of mitigating the spread of the coronavirus. So this can be increased. It means that the ministry has to have the physical infrastructure for classrooms to be used as examination rooms. The personal protective wear to candidates, this must be provided by schools so that candidates can write in a safe environment. Marking of scripts, Chair. The marking of script, Chair, will be done in an environment which is compliant to the statutory instrument which I've indicated earlier. And this means that we are going to mark our examinations or our components of a subject in regions. And what this means is where a greater number of examiners are coming from one region, we will use that as a venue. That region will be a venue for that component. And I'm deliberately saying component, because if you take an example at O level where there is English paper 1 and English paper 2, English paper 1 can be marked in the Midlands, it is a component, while paper 2 is being marked in Mark North. It's not a problem. It doesn't have a problem in the assessment regime which we are using. Why we are doing that is to ensure that where the greater concentration of markers are, it means that fewer people will have to travel. So if the concentration of markers in English paper 1 is in the Midlands, we would have the marking done in the Midlands. And the other markers from the other regions will be given safe transport to travel to that region to mark there. It will reduce the number of people who are traveling during marking. We think that can assist in fighting COVID. We will also provide a ZIMSEC all personal protective wear for all our contract staff, which are examiners, and also permanent staff. There will be residential marking Chair, we are still configuring, we are still figuring out exactly what will happen because we've got some options. The first option is to take the quarantine approach where no one goes home, they all stay there. The second option is to have a mixture of residential or non-residential marking. But we are figuring this out, and we would want to come up with a model which will make our markers safe. Chair, we have had challenges which I would like the committee to be aware of, and I want to single out 3 of challenges which have been facing. The first one is when candidates entered for our examinations, both June and November, and the deadlines were fast approaching, the ministry made a statement to say candidates can register the examination on the 2015 examination fee regime, but the ministry was very clear to the nation. The ministry said as soon as the 2020 fees is agreed upon, candidates will pay the fees for 2020. We had a challenge here where some candidates paid that fee and failed to make top-ups because the top-up was the measure which were taken to ensure that we comply with the new fee regime. We will open a window for candidates who only paid $15 per subject or the 2015 fee regime for them to top up. The second challenge is that as the registration dates were fast approaching, some candidates failed, some heads failed to remit the money to ZIMSEC. Although we had given them electronic platforms, they had problems. And there are quite a number of those centers. I think here, before I continue, I can give you some statistics in as far as centers which, as I speak, are in distress, which we will assist. We have these centers by region, but in total, grade 7, we had 288 centers which were in distress of making sure that they comply with the deadlines. At O level, we had 574 centers which were in distress, and at advanced level, we have got 118. Chair, we will be able to assist all these centers with what they need. And what they need is 1, to register their candidates, and 2, they want to ensure that the candidates have paid for their fees. So that we'll do is we now open a window for that to happen. And finally, in the challenges, Chair, we don't know where this was as a result of lack of knowledge by some heads of centers, where they registered private candidates as school candidates. Hence, these candidates paid lower fees, which is against the Ministry of Finance, Treasury, which assisted these candidates in as far as fees are concerned. We have made contact with centers. We are telling them for private candidates to top up the fees which they must top up because they are not subsidized by government. Yes, Chair, the fee regime of 2020, which was eventually approved by the ministry, assisted candidates in the sense that candidates got a 53% subsidy on fees across the board. Candidates only paid 47% of the fees. The rest, the 53% is being met by Treasury. In conclusion, Chair, I've got 3 points to make. The first one is to say ZIMSEC has attended to matters related to the mitigation of the spread of the coronavirus. And the brief which I've given you has shown how we have attended to those matters. And second,
For these and other stories, visit our website www.263chat.com. Follow us on Twitter @263chat and like our Facebook page 263chat.